Lego.
All right, Stokastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMAC coming to you on Sunday Fun Day. We've got MLB action, no more basketball until Thursday, but plenty of things to talk about today. I'm joined by Eric Lindquist here. You guys know him better as Lindquist, Lindy, Puppet Lindquist, or for those of you keeping it real, Tinkerquist.
Oh, come on, sir. Yeah, let's get out of there with that one. Doing well. Happy Sunday, everybody. I always love these because it's like I wake up, I make coffee, I come out here, and it's just like, oh, baseball's starting like very, very soon. I got up, like an hour ago, basically, and ran through all my stuff. And I think it looks like a really good slate. I think we've got some interesting chalk all over the place, but already made some home run bets. Already have a couple of plays posted in the Discord. Got some strikeout stuff that I'm running right now in the background. I mean, it is going to be a beautiful, beautiful day, EMAC.
It's going to be a fun one. We've got some excellent pitching choices today. We've got some pitchers to attack as well. And then if we have time, we may throw a few thoughts out there for the afternoon slate. Only 3 games today, but I did write it up in the Spotlight Pitchers and Top Stacks article, which of course is free every single day there on Stokastic. I gotta write this thing at the crack of dawn so we get any sort of shelf life here on a Sunday, but I'm gonna drop this link into the YouTube chat. But I appreciate it if you guys would click on it, or if you see me on Twitter, give it a like, give it a retweet. Helps us out against the Twitter algorithm, and it also lets the boss people know that it's worthwhile to have me keep writing these. All right, are we ready? Oh, look at that. Motley Crue, love it. Dr. Feelgood, great song, great album, great tour. Saw it twice because that tour went on for like 3 years. Good times. Get to the nasty
I saw them in Minneapolis at the Target Center when I was like 19. So Motley Crue, they have the guitar player with his neck brace on, right? And he couldn't move
Mick Mars.
Yeah, and he basically was playing, and he was just shredding, and he's just like upright walking around the stage. It was incredible to watch. And then obviously Tommy Lee is an insane person, but he
is pretty nuts. All right, good times here, but let's get back on track. Take it from the top here. We're going to talk about, I'm guessing, Clay Holmes, everybody's favorite cash game pitcher. That completely makes sense. Yep. Garrett Crochet against the deceptively, potentially beatable Atlanta Braves. Hunter Brown, I'll just save all the comments for you on that fella. And then Gavin Williams, if you're using the single lineup sim, which I am doing on DraftKings, he keeps getting put in as my SP2 no matter what I do. So if I want something different, I need to put in both pitchers because he has 7.5K prop, or probably 6.5K prop. A little bit of money on or slightly positive to go with the over, but that shocked me. So I had to go dig into that for 15 minutes to try to figure out why he was coming into every lineup, and I think it's a go. That's kind of the overarching read, but let's dive into the good stuff here. So I will let you lead the way through our fabulous 5 at the top.
All right, let's start with Clay Holmes, because Clay Holmes is the guy that just makes the most sense, period. He gets the Colorado matchup. He has a 22.2% K rate, which is serviceable. You go to the prop market, and every single time you put any of these guys in for the Mets against the Rockies in this series, it's like 6.5, 6.5, 6.5. And that's what it is yet again today. -125 at DK, -106 at FanDuel. FanDuel being more of a sharper book. Again, if you still just make it close to a coin flip true odds that Clay Holmes goes for, 6.5 strikeouts, pretty incredible spot, if you ask me, considering his chances of giving up run creation with the lineup that they roll out day in, day out is almost non-existent here in this spot. You've got Hilliard now batting second every single day. Tavares batting third. Keston Hiura is an absolute strikeout machine, batting sixth today. It's just shocking. They sent down Toglia, and I didn't even know Keston Hiura was in the AAA system for Colorado. But for those who aren't aware, Keston Hiura back with his Brewers days was like right around a 35-40% strikeout guy at times. He ends up getting out of the league because he had nearly like a 50% strikeout rate towards the end. And he's batting sixth today. So 2 times through, potentially 3 times through, that is a really good spot to land because, he's got a little bit of pop, but most of the time you're like 50-50 to get a strikeout on the guy, which is just an insane fact. So I really like Clay Holmes. I find him unavoidable. And then the Gavin Williams thing, just to touch on it too, before we talk about the expensive guys. Yeah, it's a gigantic K prop, but like Gavin Williams stuff has been much, much better this season. I get a little freaked out because the wind's blowing across. It could be slightly out there. Progressive Park plays up for lefty power, but I bring this up a lot with the Angels. What lefty power are we alluding to? There's none of it. So it ends up being a really nice spot for him to drop into. 25.8% K rate this season. His curveball is good. Like it's starting to figure out ways to be effective there. The velocity's up 0.5 miles per hour. I think like the mid-range is probably where I'm going to live with both of those individuals in a majority of my lineups. But yeah, looking at other SP2 options, that's where you're kind of getting cheaper to some ridiculousness. It's just that Gavin Williams is a misprice at 7,500 just because of the strikeout upside. And, I bring up the K prop there for Clay Holmes. Gavin Williams is at 6.5 juiced towards the over everywhere, including FanDuel. So like the strikeout numbers look ridiculous for him here.
Yeah, and that's something. Let's use this as a quick moment to show Portfolio EV because under our OddsShopper product here we have Portfolio EV. Everybody can get 7 days free through the promotion. But sharing the screen here, one of the fun things you can do is you can set up different kinds of portfolios. So I'm displaying the MLB portfolio over there on StreamYard, but I have it. Let me make sure I'm displaying this. Yep, I have it set up that I can go look at just strikeout props because sometimes I want to see quickly what's going on with the pitcher. Now I only have one sportsbook here in Florida, but I can get this set up so I can see all of them. And that is a quick way you can come in here and just look and see, why is this going on? And you can see here with Gavin Williams, 6.5 strikeouts. That's a number that he usually doesn't see. But the matchup is just that good. But that's one way you can utilize Portfolio EV and the OddsShopper tools to check things out. You can also go look at the live odds page too. I believe that was available for free, but check that out. That is Portfolio EV. So the Gavin Williams surprise was what threw me off a little bit this morning. How about I'm sorry, I was replying to a tweet that made me angry. That's why you guys heard me angrily typing out on my keyboard. I will try not to do that again, but someone was being a little
pissing
mouthy.
off EMAC, and can we kill them? Because they deserve the death penalty, obviously, for
shout out to whoever was doing the thankless job of our social media stuff on a Sunday, and probably isn't a baseball fan, saw that I was saying it's like Palmquist brings Coors Field with him, and they, I think, thought that it was in Coors Field. So that's what they said in their tweet. So someone said that this article is slop because the game isn't in Coors Field. But I broke it all down, and it's definitely not in Coors Field. And I made multiple references to that. But someone thought they would be lazy. Just lazy.
It's all right.
Get off my lawn. Did you mention DeGrom?
No, we haven't talked about DeGrom, and I'm very worried about DeGrom for what it's worth. 5.5 strikeout prop. I don't know why. Like Jacob DeGrom is good, but like 11%, he's at 10.3. I would much rather get up to Crochet and Brown, like much rather. It's a tougher spot. I think this lineup that St. Louis is rolling out day in, day out. I like Newt Barr. I like Donovan. Contreras has positive regression written all over him. Ivan Herrera is a dude. Alec Burleson batting 7th. I feel pretty good about St. Louis being able to avoid strikeouts to some extent there. I mean, Nolan Arenado, 11.5% K rate this year. There's just not strikeout upside for a guy in Jacob DeGrom. And now you're asking for him to pitch deeper into this, coming off of no strikeouts, no swing and miss against Toronto. And you get Hunter Brown and Garrett Crochet, where if you're making me get away from this mid-range of Holmes and Gausman and, way further down, 7,500 Gavin Williams, I feel like Brown and Crochet just are the much more obvious paths. I'd be shocked. I'm playing 150 lineups. I have 2% Jacob DeGrom right now.
Okay. Fields at 11, which is not very high for someone of his caliber. And also the probability of him being a top 2 pitcher is only 1 out of 10 times today. And now that does 2 things. One, it points out that maybe we aren't, or it's a tougher matchup than it first may seem, but there's also some really good options here at the other side. And when you're taking chances on someone who has missed so much time for injury, didn't he have like a slow start or two, and then he like went on he was groovy. He went on lockdown and was looking pretty good. The 0 strikeouts in the last one, that was
for
someone
what
of
it's
his
worth
caliber.
too. We don't want to like extrapolate because Jacob deGrom, you don't want to look at one start against Toronto and have that be the say-all, end-all. He had 9 against the Yankees. He had 7 against Houston. He had 10 against Detroit. It's just that I have to compare him to Brown and Crochet, who I just think are exponentially better options. And Crochet has a scary, scary spot against Atlanta, but 7.5K prop. And we know that, he's somebody who can always pitch 110 pitches on command if need be. And Hunter Brown has been electric the entire year. Outside of one start in Tampa Bay, which I repeat is a AAA ballpark, he's been unhittable. You take that one start, 5 earned out of the equation, he'd have like a 1.3 ERA. So it's an absurd pitcher in Hunter Brown. And Tampa Bay obviously has tons of strikeout upside. And, they've had major issues against lefties. I think one of the biggest oversights I've had in a long time was just not even considering Framber Valdez last Friday. Not that Framber Valdez is some insane pitcher, but sometimes you get in a habit of thinking about the Crawford boxes and, all these pull hitters that are going to come up from the right side. But Tampa Bay has been so ineffective against lefties. Against righties, they've been better, but this is Hunter Brown with unbelievable strikeout stuff. So you get the Brandon Lau piece higher in the order. You get the Jonathan Aranda piece higher in the order. You get all of these guys thrown into the mix. And at the same time that they're very dangerous, they're also 24.5% and higher strikeout guys. It just becomes one of those push and pulls of this slate where, I can't necessarily get to the top end of pitcher as much as I want to with some of the stacks that I'm playing, but I would like to get to more of Hunter Brown and Garrett Crochet if I could. And I'm not even a big Crochet guy. He's always pulling more ownership than I think he should. Because I do expect that strikeout rate to kind of flatten out around the 28-30% number. Nothing close to 35% he had last year because now he's pitching full games. But overall, EMAC, it's really hard for me to make a case for Jacob deGrom.
Would you consider stacking against him, or is that a bridge too far today?
I think that's a bridge too far. I'm not saying that he's not washed at all. I'm just simply saying that his strikeout stuff against Brown and Crochet's, I think, is definitely lacking, if you will, considering the spot that he's in. I think it's a very difficult spot, and I don't think he has any issues. He's still a top tier pitcher. He has a sub-1 WHIP, sub-2.5 ERA, but we're playing fantasy here, and if I'm going to find a way to be spending up at pitcher, it's just clicking on Brown, Crochet, and moving on with my life.
All right. And that makes sense because there's not a lot of, if the field's not going to be there on deGrom, then you're not getting the leverage for, if things go poorly. And then just to sort of summarize it, salary cap's also a thing. If he was 8,000, we probably have a different answer than.
We'd have 80% of him and call him a free square and just be like, maybe this isn't the spot with strikeout upside. The salary and the ownership are such a big part of this. And I just think it looks pretty efficient. And the top pitchers tool does too. 0.5% leverage. I'm not getting that much out of the pitcher spot, especially with how many different batters and combinations you can roll out. I'd much rather just get to Brown or Crochet. And then the leverage part that you were talking about, you're just not getting any of it there against a very functional, very good top tier pitcher.
All right. You said you're playing this. Let me just skip this game because the rest of the games don't start until 1:35. So I was already going to not have to worry about doing my FanDuel lineups, but we'll see how it goes. I don't want to be too distracted.
And you don't have to worry about deGrom on FanDuel, so we don't even have to talk about it.
Exactly. So that buy me a little bit of time because the Texas offense going against Eric Fede. So just real quick here on the Texas offense, they basically told Avisel Garcia that, we're just going to give you a few days off till you get right in the head. That's not what you want to hear about. And they dropped him to 8th and 9th, and Simeon's batting 9th or 8th. And this offense, didn't this team win a World Series not that long ago, Eric?
Yeah. Dallas Garcia won them the World Series, basically.
I know.
Dallas Garcia was the best hitter in the series by a wide margin. He was absolutely incredible and made us a lot of money in the Discord once upon a time, for real ones who remember. But Adolis Garcia has some broken pieces. I mean, it's not the bat speed. It's not when he makes contact. It's just that things have been tough, and he's never been somebody who got you free passes. He's never going to be like an ex-WOBA, GOAT by any means, but it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. Like you have players that are going to struggle or maybe are fighting through an injury we don't know about to some extent. I got to think that he's still extremely talented. And you look at his bat tracking, it's down ever so slightly from like the 2023 season, but like he should be a lot better than what he is. He's just really not finding ways of getting the ball on the bat the way that he needs to. You need to start barreling some of these up. And, we have batting stance distance and all this other stuff on FanGraphs. I don't even know how to like intertwine that into analysis. I don't know what any of it means, but there are some sharper people who have said that there is this and that going on with Adolis Garcia. I think it's as simple as like sometimes you just end up in a rut and you got to break out of it. Like Ryan Mountcastle this year, like he's fighting through something. I don't know what's going on. He doesn't look right to me either, but eventually guys that are that talented figure out ways to improve.
$5,400, Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton getting it done, age 42, not to be confused with the original Charlie Morton who pitched in the late 1800s, though it feels like this Charlie Morton actually knew that Charlie Morton. What do you want to do here with the $5,400 pitcher going against the White Sox, who are the second worst offense this season, and they're a full standard deviation ahead of the Colorado Rockies?
Yeah, I think I'd rather play Tyon. Like, I'd much rather play Tyon.
Okay.
Like, I just see them next to each other in names. I mean, they're 3,400 apart. But I'm just looking at the sub 10% owned pitchers right now. And Charlie Morton's 4%. We've got him 9.6% top 2 percentage. You can't ask for a better spot to walk into than the White Sox in avoiding run creation. But I think you can walk into a much better strikeout spot than what Charlie Morton is walking into. And wind looks pretty neutral. It's blowing left to right. Doesn't look as though it's like helping anything towards the pole. And you only got a 20.5% strikeout rate for Charlie Morton, who has been a beanbag chair all season long. Him and Kyle Gibson. Now Kyle Gibson, can't remember where I think Tampa Bay picked him up. I think I saw that on the wire the other day, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Chase Madrath and Mike Tauchman and Miguel Vargas and Benintendi, they don't really strike out a lot at all. And this was kind of the thing that freaked me out when they were taking on the Mets, and you were going to get some mega owned Mets chalk the other day, where it was like, oh shit, like they've really constructed their lineup. It was against Tyler McGill. I had the over of 5.5 strikeouts for Tyler McGill, and I saw the lineup roll out for the White Sox, and it caught me by surprise. And now, instead of Luis Robert being out of the lineup, he's batting 7th today. This is a guy who's routinely been 3rd forever and ever and ever. And he kind of buoys what you get for strikeout upside. If you don't get to face him 3 times, it is a huge deal in terms of your strikeout projection, having a 31% strikeout guy replaced by a Miguel Vargas in the 3-hole at 18%. So it becomes this push and pull of like, is it really worth it to drop down to Charlie Morton? Do I need to go to a $5,400 pitcher? My answer is probably no. Out of the low owned pitchers, I mean, he's not even that low owned. He's 9.5% owned. Jameson Taillon is my favorite to get to. Wind blowing in against Cincinnati. He's never been a great strikeout pitcher, but he's one of those guys who can pitch you 7 innings, can walk into some random strikeout upside from time to time. But it just really comes down to the spot against Cincinnati. And they've been 6th most strikeouts against right-handed pitching this season, 23.5%. They can freak you out from time to time, but overall, this is just such a good pitching environment yet again in Wrigley for what it feels like an entire week now. Can't wait for the wind to blow out one time, but definitely looking at Jameson Taillon as serviceable today.
All right. Do you know which team has the best record in all of baseball? I love throwing this out because I myself have to look every few days because when in DFS, we're so focused on the matchups, we never think about it.
Yeah, I think, let me just think through it. It's got to be the Tigers if you're just thinking off
it
the top
is
of your
the
head.
Motor City Kitties.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? They are a game and a half ahead of 4 other teams. So it's not a commanding lead. But I
had to think through that one because if you hadn't led me, I would have said, Dodgers or Phillies, because I feel like the Phillies have been having a better record than people have expected all season long. I think they have 36, 37 wins themselves. But I think the Tigers were more. I think I saw that yesterday. And of course, losing a 1-0 to Skubal, like Skubal taking an L, that's just unfair there. I guess he didn't take the L, but not winning a game where Skubal is playing against Michael Wacha is not ideal, Detroit. Not ideal.
Yeah, not good times there. But plus 85 on their run differential. So the question is, do you want to go with Kris Bubic today?
I like Kris Bubic. I think he's interesting. I think he's much more interesting than Jacob deGrom. And you could just go box score watch if you really wanted to here. You said the Motor City Kitties. I absolutely love that. And, you're the only person I hear say that on a day in, day out basis. But
Detroit, I didn't invent it. There's no way I invented it.
I know. But Detroit's been good against lefties. I mean, part of that is this resurgence of Javi Baez, Spencer Torkelson becoming the one that was promised. Like, we're starting to see some real stuff with the Detroit lineup on a day in, day out basis. But then they have guys that kind of plug and play. Gleyber Torres never, ever, strikes out. And he is walking at a ridiculous clip right now. Dylan Dingler, has tons of power, 291 expected batting average. Colt Keith, both sides of it. Justin Henry Malloy up there, lead off today. Like, I think he's functional against lefties. Like, there's so many pieces that Detroit has that are just sneaky good. And that all combines to a 118 WRC plus against left-handed pitching. But they have a 23% strikeout rate. And Kaufman's been playing pretty pitcher-friendly for a while. And we're just waiting for the humidity to ramp up. It's not there again today. It's 84, but only 40% humidity in Kansas City in June is not a big deal. So you look at like some of the park factors and you can kind of play with it on FanGraphs. I've played with it a little on Baseball Savant where it's 3-year rolling average. It plays up for doubles and that's about it. It is very, very difficult for the long ball to kill you there if you're Kris Bubic. And Kris Bubic has just been insane. He does give up the fly ball contact, 14.5 degree launch angle this year. Last year was more of a ground ball guy out of the pen, but like this year, 2.83 expected ERA. There's just nothing about the weather that freaks me out for the long ball. And I think Kris Bubic has the kind of strikeout upside to rival what we've got up at the top tier. 26.1% this season. Again, I don't really look at the 32 last year because, you go from that type of an arm to this type of an arm where you have to extend yourself and throw more pitches. But boy, does he do a great job of limiting exit velocity. I mean, he is just getting soft contact against so many of these guys. 35.8% hard hit is pretty decent there as well. Great ballpark to be pitching in. I think Kris Bubic is probably going to end up getting rolled out by me in single entry, if I'm being honest. I really like Bubic and I really like Brown as like a contrarian piece. If I'm going to get away from Clay Holmes, which I don't necessarily recommend in single entry, I'm playing a couple of like 3 max things too, but I am toying with the idea of just going Brown Bubic and just try to hit massive strikeout upside.
All right, I'm going to drop this link into chat so everybody can see this guy's picture. This is we're continuing the theme of Bubes, B-E-W-B.
You love Bubes, don't you?
This is Hayden Birdsong, and that's the face of someone who just saw naked boobies for the first time. That's all I can say. But he is now in the rotation. He was sort of a season-long darling here.
Where are we going with this? Do you have the picture? What are you doing?
I dropped it into the YouTube chat.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I have to click on the picture. I have to do things in order to get there. Okay.
Yes. Well, you can see him that's just his baseball reference page. It's a similar picture, if not the same, on most sources.
I need to see his boob face. Okay.
So doesn't that look like it? That's Okay, so Birdsong, a couple decent pitches. They started him out as a multi-inning reliever, but the intent has been to make him a starter. When it was announced he was going to be moving back into the rotation, the season-long slappies in all those crazy leagues with the fab and all of that, we're excited about him. I'm a season-long slappy myself, but I wasn't that excited about him for some reason. But he is an intriguing option here against Miami today. On the other side, you have Weathers, who has cruised. Now, only 3 starts because of injury. I forget, I tweaked his back or his shoulder early on, but he's faced the Cubs twice and survived. So what do you think of our Miami matchup today?
I think I'm still mad at Miami. I mean, Ryan Weathers, I've always liked the stuff. I've probably bet his K-prop over more than anybody else's K-prop over in the last 3 weeks. Like, I bet it against the Cubbies both times. I think I bet it against San Diego as well, and he ended up hitting it there. But he got that quick hook pull, 76 pitches through 5. He had 5 clean, 76 pitches, and they didn't let him roll back out. They did the same thing the next game, but at least his K-prop was sitting at like 3.5. It was major juice towards the over, but I was able to combine that with some stuff. And Ryan Weathers has really good stuff. So I like Ryan Weathers. I just don't know against San Francisco where, this is not a ballpark like major upgrade the way it would be if San Francisco walked into any other ballpark. But the one thing that freaks me out a little bit about, is this Xavier Edwards' first game back for Miami, and Hayden Birdsong having to deal with him at the top of the lineup, and then a bunch of guys who don't strike out, and Matt Mervis sent back to AAA, and basically just Stowers and Connor Norby that are north of like 21-22% strikeout guys. Like, you get Liam Hicks and Sonoya, who are very strikeout immune at the bottom of this lineup. It's a pretty tough lineup to just see massive upside. Now, Hayden Birdsong, you brought it up perfectly. He is one of those guys who was a fantasy darling. He had crazy strikeout in AAA. It never really showed up in the majors. Then they convert him to a bullpen arm. He has a really good stint there. And now they're like, you know what? Let's give it another old try here. 3.93 expected ERA looks good. Let's try to convert him here back into a starter. We'll see. I mean, the ground balls have got to, he's got to get better in that department. He gives up such hard fly ball contact, 45% hard hit, nearly a 20-degree launch angle. But there's no doubt that the strikeout upside is nice. I just don't really see it with this Miami Marlins lineup with Xavier Edwards back, with Matt Mervis gone. Like, it becomes a much bigger ask. And it's not like you're getting this 7K, or 6K pitcher. He's 8,100. I would much rather click Gavin Williams as chalk, which is saying something. Like, I just see such an much more obvious path to like a top 2 percentage for a Gavin Williams than I do for a Hayden Birdsong at 90 pitches.
All right, continue marching along because we still have a couple more guys we can potentially say something positive about here. That's going to be Taj Bradley in Houston, so he doesn't have to play in the bandbox that is George Steinbrenner Field. But does he have his strikeouts? Much like Paula Cole's once saying, where have all the strikeouts gone?
Oh my God. Did you really just do where did all the Cowboys gone as a side to the people?
Well, I thought I'd do the first singing instead of you today because I don't want to wait. Team Eric.
I'm not ready for this shit at 9:30 a.m. Oh my God. All right. What just happened? Stop guessing, start winning. Yeah, we're going to commercial break. I don't know where the strikeouts went for Taj Bradley, but I mean, I would say he looks like he should be a more effective pitcher going forward. I went into it with Jesse a little bit, like just breaking down what I'm seeing with Taj Bradley. I think the advanced metrics look pretty good for him. 20.5% K rate, 9.5% walk rate. Neither of those numbers are all that appealing for what we do, and that's fantasy. I think there's a path to it improving because I think the split finger is going to get better. He had a 33% whiff percentage on it last season. It's only at 23% this year. And when that's your second pitch and kind of your primary, off speed off, or like you're trying to get to that pitch as kind of your put away pitch, especially against lefties. And, 10% is a gigantic chasm. He's never really gotten swing and miss for the four seamer. That's just setting everything up for him. And then you look at the cutter. I think the cutter just looks about the same to me year over year. Curveball looks about the same year over year to me. So once the split finger starts to get back to what it was before, I think we're going to see better strikeout upside from him. I think there's also something to be said about a pitcher having to deal with a terrible ballpark where he was probably, looking forward to pitching at home for years and years and years. Now, it's just, it's a completely different ball of wax. It's much more hitter friendly at Steinbrenner Field. And, maybe there's some adjustment to like what his pitch mix is. You're pitching outdoors, every single home game as opposed to indoors too, pretty controlled environment. I think we'll see things improve for Taj Bradley for the strikeout upside, but on this slate, I don't think he really matters whatsoever to me.
All right. Ranger Suarez going against Milwaukee. There were a lot of runs scored against Luzardo yesterday.
Yeah.
felt like they didn't like him if they left him out that long until we got to Brandon Pfaadt at night, who gave up 8 times infinity, 8
nice
earned
to be on that
runs with
over.
no outs.
It was nice to have that over done with.
Yeah.
Within one, like I didn't even have to box score watch anything the rest of the entire game. I didn't have like a home run or anything on that one, so it was good.
That's not entirely true. Your Discord, you did recommend using the free prize pick square.
Corbin Carroll.
Carroll.
Right. Yeah, $5.
Yeah, well, see, though, $5, you're like me and limited on prize picks. It was a $5 offering. But
yes. Well, I'm glad you keep me accountable. I remembered as soon as you said that yes, there was that, because I just thought his prices were egregious, but you got plus 650 when you combined him with a free square cat or taco. So it was like, man, if I get plus 650 Corbin Carroll, even if it's $5, I don't really care. I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely on those. And that's, one of the many sites that are out there that you guys could sign up with and get some free, that's right, free Stokastic sims. So I'm going to drop this link here in the chat. Nightbot's been putting it in there as well. But if you go to this page, why don't I just display it? This is, if you sign up for any of these operators here, not only do you have to click the claim offer through us, but you get whatever their initial deposit match is. And then if you follow these instructions, choose one of these below, use our link, sign up, deposit, place a bet. Once you get your first betting card, your first wager, whatever is settled, take a screenshot of that with the welcome email, forward that to support@stokastic.com and tell us which Sims package you would like. So for which league. So at this point, it's basically MLB. But if you wanted to bank it until NFL came around, you could do that as well. But check that out. Because I'm guessing a lot of you aren't signed up yet for Chalkboard or Vivid or Better. So there's a lot out there that you guys get to look at and earn a little extra scratch by getting free Stokastic content. Any other pitchers that you would like to mention here? I think that's everybody, because we did mention Charlie Morton. Are we ready to flip over to stacks?
Yeah, we mentioned Charlie Morton. We talked about him a little bit. I guess just to touch base on the Ranger Suarez thing, I thought I was going to have a lot of him coming into this slate, and then I ran it through the Sims, and I'm not. People are talking about the Milwaukee bats being hot. It's been good. It's been a good hitting environment the last couple of days here. Winds blowing out again, ever so slightly to right field here, 10, 15 miles an hour. This is generally the ballpark that's the second most affected by wind in the entire league, next to Wrigley Field. So you want to keep that in consideration. There's some ballparks like Cincinnati, like San Francisco, that they try to do a job where they really limit the wind factors. I mean, Cincinnati, it already plays hitter friendly, so it doesn't matter. San Francisco, they mute it because otherwise you'd have the wind blowing out massively every single day towards the marina. But I look at
McCovey Cove.
Yeah, Covey Cove. Yeah, I love all the seals out there hanging out. Sorry. But it definitely ends up being Ranger Suarez still has to outperform a lot of other pitchers on the top end. And then Milwaukee, despite the fact that, they're quote unquote hot, only a 111 ISO, 85 WRC plus against Southpaws this season, 23 and change percent K rate. I thought I was going to have a ton of Ranger Suarez, but I repeat, it doesn't really have the price tag that you can really get to on this slate, because there's just much more strikeout upside in every single range. 8,500. If you want to roll out a couple, I'm sure I'm going to roll out a couple when it's all said and done and I finish everything up, because I just don't want to enter the slate with 0 of him. But I did think I was going to have 20, 30% of him, and I really, really don't.
All right. The dog just was dropped off. My wife and her friend who came over to see the dog, they're going out to have a girls' lunch tonight, or this afternoon. So I get the dog. She's now going to whine at my feet.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Hopefully she'll be distracted now.
Nurturer of animals. Just
we'll see. This tries my patience. I'm kind of glad we don't have NBA for a few nights, because staying up late and then getting up at 6 a.m. with her, rain or shine, is getting to be a little old. Much like me.
My wife actually walks the dog on the weekends, so it's nice that I get to come in here and just degen out the whole morning.
Yes. Well, once she has her shots, she has to wait till she's a little bit bigger to get her last shot. She's just only 4 months now, or 3 months, I guess. I've lost track. 14 weeks. So very, very bitey and doesn't listen. So good times. For the FanDuel crowd, which includes me, because I enjoy playing on FanDuel with the single lineup simulator to build out 8 to 10 lineups, along with the mass sim tool building out my other 140 or so. It looks like Hunter Brown is our top pitcher of the day, which it makes sense. You've got Garrett Crochet next, followed by Gavin Williams, Kevin Gausman, and Clay Holmes. Those 5 are the ones you probably need to focus on. You could slide in with a little Bubic, maybe a little Ryan Weathers, but I wouldn't go to anybody else on this list. I think you're going to be fine with just those pitchers. And that's an entirely different strategy than what we have on the 2 pitcher sites of the secret site, Yahoo, which has ruined their game to no end, followed by, of course, DraftKings. So it's an entirely different strategy there. And on FanDuel, a lot of times I will have 50% of a pitcher, and I don't usually do that on DraftKings. Even with the 2 pitcher slots. So that's kind of your FanDuel look. Play it chalky there and then go elsewhere to be a little bit different. And I like to set 3 3s for my stacks instead of 4 4s because then you get better one-offs in your lineups. And the Sims have shown us that the Shohei Ohtani, who's going to have an awesome game and then fall asleep in the dugout kind of players, you want to play a lot of that guy. And we knew that, but we didn't know how much we really do want to play some of those top guys: Corbin Carroll, Aaron Judge, Jose Ramirez, etc., etc. Do you have any thoughts on FanDuel that you want to call it at pitcher?
A couple on FanDuel, just because, obviously now you get to go to the outs side of the equation. I keep referencing strikeout props. I feel like every single show I've been on for years. But when you go over to FanDuel, which I'm not playing again today, I always want to throw that out there as a qualifier. You definitely want to be focused on the quality start in addition. And, obviously all of that is baked in by our projections. So I'm kind of being redundant. You don't want to double count things as I'm talking through it and be like, oh, this isn't being factored in, because it absolutely 100% is. I think Clay Holmes is your cash game pitcher. Easiest click ever there. I don't think you saved the 1,200 to go to Gavin Williams there. In tournaments, I understand why Gavin Williams is pulling 17% ownership, but I just want to highlight center Chris Bubic over there. 10-2 for Chris Bubic. That is very enticing against Detroit, where I do think you're going to get some more strikeout upside coming your direction there sooner rather than later. Against Detroit, that is. Chris Bubic has had it all season long, but I just think the Kauffman Stadium combination heavily juiced towards the over 5.5. And then you go to the pitching outs prop, 17.5, minus 180 at DraftKings right now, minus 185 at BetMGM. We're saying nearly like minus 200 that we're getting 18 outs out of Chris Bubic in a spot like this. That is really appealing and not really being encapsulated by the ownership right now.
All right. For those of you not in playback, we are streaming there as well right now. See, some of the regulars are in there. Shout out to Dano, who says, I looked up Birdsong's picture and EMAC is 100% correct. Looks like some dorky kid just saw Bubic for the first time. 50% of my life. Personal hero of mine. He was watching, getting high and watching or listening along in the bathtub a few weeks ago for one of the weekend shows. Nice. So
I do like 50% off my life. This shit is better than church. That's fantastic.
Yes.
That's
And he also says EMAC is so Porky's, which Porky's is the greatest trilogy of all time.
Oh,
right. No questions. Forget Godfather. Forget the Star Wars stuff. Yeah. Forget Lord of the Rings. It's Porky's.
I guess Godfather 3 probably screwed up the trilogy idea of that to many people, myself included. Although Coppola's ended up being a pretty good amongst directors in the world. She's crushing it. So she's on the comeback tour in life. She's doing quite well. Absolutely love her stuff.
All right. Die Hard's more than the trilogy. So is the Bourne, because they have the, whatever they call it, the Jeremy Renner version of it. Animal House, good movie. Let's talk about stacks, Eric. We have, get over to the right page, since yesterday I went to the wrong page and the boss called me out on air about doing it incorrectly. So that was fun. Fortunately, you're his favorite, so he never makes fun of you or belittles you on air. So.
What? Nobody would ever do that to me. No, everybody's so nice and polite to me all the time and so kind.
Yes, Revenge of the Nerds. There's sadly there was a lot of direct to video iterations of that movie, so it's not really a trilogy. It was sort of, but not really. Carson Palmquist bringing Coors Field to Citi Field today. That seems like fun. Adrian Hauser, is he going to be the get right spot for the batters of Birdland? What about JP Sears going against Toronto? Not a lot of strikeouts. A couple of prominent people have been saying take the under on 6.5 hits. But I didn't like their analysis. They said it's because the last 3 times that he has faced Toronto, he has gone under 6.5 hits allowed. That's not good analysis, is it? No.
But I suppose it's something that's interesting. I mean, I was about to bring up the fact that Adrian Hauser's given up 5 hits in 12 innings. So you tell me. It depends
it's all framing.
It's all framing of it. And then for me, Adrian Hauser, this is just so annoying. This guy is so annoying. 5.24 expected ERA last season, 14.6% K rate this year, finding more swing and miss. 18.6%, still below or almost identical to where you would project him, I suppose, coming out of a bullpen situation or something, but league average rate around 22%. So he's way below that. 186 WOBA so far. What? Why does he have a 186 WOBA? Why is he giving up no launch angle sweet spot? Why is he giving up no hard contact? What is actually going on, EMAC? Because this Adrian Hauser thing is just absurd. And I feel like Baltimore, if we get to the flip, if you told me that the Mets were 15% against Palmquist and Baltimore was 8, I think that's very, very live to happen. I think both are good hitting environments today. I think the Mets, this wind is blowing out. It's actually out. Everything else is kind of across the field that we've talked about so far. Wind is actually blowing out there. I always want to say Shea, but in, Citi Field. So I look at Carson Palmquist. He's not good. We took a couple of shots on him in Wrigley, just with the wind blowing strongly in. He was functional, but you knew that wasn't going to be somebody with a ton of upside. He's not very good. Southpaw, lots of righty power. It's just a problem. And then Adrian Hauser, I don't know what I want to do with Baltimore when it's all said and done. This is the one team that I'm going to probably screw around with the most in the Sims right now between now and lock, because I don't completely trust it. And I don't think Adrian Hauser is just some retooled, revamped, awesome guy who's going to be going 6 innings every single time out, but he is really getting by right now. And this sinker ball, if it's just going to be annoying where players they just can't get a hang of it and it's just getting beat into the ground, I'm going to probably lose my mind, because Adrian Hauser is not good in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't do anything I would want from a pitcher, but he's only 32. Maybe there's a little bit of leeway for him to find success in a middle reliever role later down the line. But as a starting pitcher in baseball, it just defies everything I believe in when you break down pitchers. And Adrian Hauser, I just don't know what to do with Baltimore. I think Toronto's more clear cut. Toronto against JP Sears, I think they're going to come in higher owned than we've got projected right now. They just continue to smack the ball around this, whether it was Hoagland or whomever else. And JP Sears does not appeal to me in any way, shape, or form. I actually think I like Jeffrey Springs more than him straight up. If you told me I could only take one from now until the end of time, or till the end of their careers, JP Sears, 495 expected slugging, 43.4% hard hit, and 19.3 degree launch angle. His launch angle sweet spot numbers are redonkulous and have been his entire career. He is going to be a long ball machine. He is going to be that guy. And Toronto is really, really strikeout immune. And now you get Kirk up there batting 4th. Addison Barger is on another planet at the moment, batting 5th. Ernie Clement there as well has been functional. Hits fly balls at least, even though, no hard contact really to speak of. You get a ton of cheapies at the bottom half of the lineup. I think Toronto is very easy to roll out today.
I'm looking at, why is Brett Baty batting 5th today?
Depends. Brett Baty's just been good, period, since he got back. And Palmquist is one of those guys that I think is just going to give up hard contact to absolutely everybody.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of configure your lineup however you want. He's only given up 2 homers in 13 innings. I guess that's about league average where it would be. It's not like he's some home run per 9 machine yet, but he's just getting going. And He's 24. He is, a pretty touted prospect for the Rockies. Take that for what you will. It's the freaking Rockies, but he throws this.
Yeah, he didn't. So the quick on him is he didn't make it even into their top 10 prospects until last year, and they ranked him 6th. He's got a fastball that barely cracks 90, even at the high end. It sits at about 88, and then I've read up a bunch on him those last few starts, so I'm going from memory. Shout out to Fangraphs for all this information. He has elongated curveball and sweeper potential. So the way that those pitches break and they're a little slower, it helps the fastball look a little bit faster. All this said, he's crafty lefty. Yeah. He's not getting any better. He's going to be a creative pitcher for the next 5 years with the Rockies.
Let's get more cerebral with this. So Palmquist is a southpaw, and they put Beatty up to 5. If you pull up Colorado's bullpen, they have no lefty available for today. They had Ryan Rollison pitch 31 pitches yesterday. And then everybody that they currently have up with the big league club is a righty coming out of the pen. So you just simply set up with the construction where you get Beatty up higher in the order. If you get to Palmquist early through 2, it's not like you're worried about Palmquist versus Beatty all that much anyway, but it sets it up in a place where Beatty's going to be getting righties coming out of the pen the whole rest of the game. So like you want to get him more at bats over guys like Tyrone Taylor, Acuna, Vientos against a righty for sure. Like normally you'd have Vientos up there batting second, but they have Marte today. So like Vientos, we've seen bat second against lefties. This is just like Beatty's been absolutely scorched earth and gets the entire bullpen advantage the rest of the way.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's a good call. So I've got up here on the screen, guys. This is you can get this on
Roster Resource.
Yeah, Roster Resources. It's a phenomenal place to go to just see everything that's going on. You can see the last 6 days of pitchers, what they've worked, what the rotation is.
Yeah, zoom in on the handedness there, because that was the main thing that I do this almost every day, because I think you can find like interesting competitive advantage when you're it's not even that I'm necessarily originating entirely. It's simply looking at a number and seeing if it's accounting for the information or not. Like, Vientos going to have to deal with righties the whole rest of the way after Palmquist is out, whereas Beatty's going to get the advantage. If you get to Palmquist early, which I think is kind of the assumption here, it's not that he's going to have that much of a leash anyway, unless he's just getting pounded and has to eat it. But like, I definitely think you are looking at a great spot for Brett Beatty the rest of the way, whereas, it's kind of the inverse for a Mark Vientos.
Yep. Good stuff there. All right. Branching back out to things. I just thought of a good nickname. I know the nickname, but I thought you remember like when you shoot the ball and say, "Oh, Kobe," right?
Yep.
Adobe. You got to say that every time that Clay Holmes strikes somebody out today.
Why?
Clay Holmes, Adobe. Dog of the day. Dog of the day. Yes.
Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. I'll go to church. Just don't do this to me. Oh my God. I'll go to school.
All right. Yeah, they're not all winners. Okay. But come on. You guys know that you chuckled at that. All right, back to the stacks.
Yeah,
we've got 15 minutes until lock here. No weather concerns, as Eric mentioned. Nothing super positive, nothing super negative. No rain in the forecast either. So after these teams here, how do you feel about the Guardians against Kahanowitz today?
Kakanowitz, as I like to say. No. It's just he's actually turning into like somewhat functional. Not that he's good by any means. He's awful. 15.2% K rate, 11% walk rate, 47.6% hard hit. But what happens sometimes, you get these 23, 24-year-olds called up. And I mean, we've seen Birdsong enough that we kind of know. But you're going to expect that a player that just gets called up from AAA, gets his first go around at the major league level, that they're going to really find ways to get better as they go along. Now, we saw quite a bit of him in 2024 for what it's worth. He wasn't good then either, but he hasn't been like completely getting murdered here the last few out. he's found ways to keep it somewhat fractional. Like 6 2/3 giving up 4 earned to the Yankees. That didn't do you anything stacking up the Yankees in that game for what it's worth. Like just thinking through some of those slates. So like he's finding ways to be that annoying guy who's just not going to get completely shelled and not going to give up like infinity home runs. He does a pretty good job of keeping the launch angle down. His ground ball percentage is 85th percentile in baseball. He has 8 home runs allowed to lefties, and we know that there are a lot of lefties on the Cleveland side. Even, stop looking at me, Quan. He's definitely somebody at the top of the lineup who probably has more home runs than you would expect for a leadoff hitter with 5, who traditionally is like around that 1,200, 1,400 number. But Jose Ramirez, Kyle Manzardo just look like awesome options today. Carlos Santana, you kind of look at some of his splits as what he's doing this season from both sides of the plate. He's been better versus right-handed pitching, 798 OPS, almost identical average, 261, 262. So his splits as a switch hitter, he is slightly preferable getting him up against a righty there. Schneemann, Bo Naylor, like whatever. Nolan Jones has hard contact all the time and has nothing to show for it. I say that a lot with him, but you get up against a guy with no strikeout upside. Nolan Jones is like a deep, deep flyer that I think actually makes some sense on today's slate for going yard.
All right. So I'm going to show you guys just quick here. So the single lineup sim. So this is fun. This is like the next evolution for those that are kind of doing hand building type stuff. If you have an idea of what stack you want, you can quickly put it in here. So like Eric mentioned here with, Ramirez, let's go with Quan, Manzardo, anybody else? Let's throw in Angel Martinez, probably Angel Martinez, who is batting second today. And then we can just complete it out, right? You don't have to do anything else. It's going to probably give us Holmes and Gavin Williams. Oh, Hunter Brown and Gavin Williams. But you can see here, it's just giving us next best players. So even though it looks like, oh, it gave me a 2-2 stack, it's looking at just the next best players that would go in there. They just happen to be correlated because they're going in such good spots against Palmquist there. But you can click this. I've got it set for the under 1,000 lineups because these are kind of the ones I put in the smaller leagues. But you can see good lineup here for that. If you get anything less than like 10 or 15%, you might want to build it again or take a player out if you're trying to do a 5-man stack, or you put both of the key pitchers in. That can really influence what shows or doesn't show. And then if you just wanted to do the standard lineup here, you could just say, hey, what's the best lineup? Now, it just takes it player agnostic as to their stacks, but this would be the air quote optimal lineup that we have out here. So like this would be like a good way to build out a cash game if you wanted to go that path. That is the single lineup sim. A lot of fun for FanDuel. I really like using it for their 100-man leagues there. All right, back to our fun here. Anything that you want to highlight for the other stacks? Boston, any leverage type options? You want to take a few people against Gavin Williams? What do we have here?
That's the one. Gavin Williams is definitely the worst of the batch, and we're basically just asking him to go out and mow dudes down. But you get an Angels lineup that has power. It doesn't have Mike Trout in it today, but that also drops the salary down to a place where I can play him with the Hunter Browns. Like I'm looking through the Sims right now with a lot of like my Hunter Brown type lineups that are at the top. A lot of them have Angels attached to it because I'm spending up for 2 pitchers. And outside of Neto and Ward, you basically get Ohapi, one of the best catcher options that you could get to on today's slate for leverage. Joe Adell batting 6th, speed power combo. Chris Taylor, awful, but like maybe there's something there. Scott Kingery, same thing, but like at the same time that Gavin Williams looks great for a DFS option because of the K prop and the K upside, there's no doubt that a Zach Neto, Ward, Soler combination, like there's just so many of these guys that have massive upside considering 350 xWOBA, but for Gavin Williams, 12% barrel percentage is just way, way up there. And you go through some of his homers already, 5 to lefties, 3 to righties. So he's not exactly not giving it up to righties still. It's still pretty functional to get to. So, well, I don't love the construction of an Angels lineup day in, day out because you just don't have any lefty power. You have an opportunity to get to some real righty power that has some upside.
Scott Kingery, I had the wait, he's still around? I hadn't realized. I'm just looking now. He played full time at Lehigh Valley for the Iron Pigs in the minors the last 3 years.
Yep. He's back.
Whoa. I was like, oh, he must have gone to Japan or Korea or nope. Lehigh Valley. The other guy today that's back in our lives, Keston Hiura. Oh, he played like a dozen games or whatever last year.
Unbelievable. Yeah, or as I like to call him, Eston Hiura, because the K, it's automatically there. The K is silent. It's just it goes without saying. It goes without saying.
Just a shout out for perseverance. Shout out for perseverance.
Oh, I have a great Keston Hiura story for after this story, for what it's worth. He might have had some fun before a game at Wrigley Field where he then had a double dong. It is a great story. Yeah.
All right. I think we've covered just about everything for the slate. Are your lineups up? I'm skipping this first game, so I'll be scrambling afterwards. But 35 minutes till the next wave of games.
I'm not skipping it. I'm gonna get a little St. Louis. I'm not gonna completely. Okay. You had asked me the question. Do I want to stack against Jacob deGrom? And I said no, pretty instantaneously. I'm gonna get to 1 or 2 and 150. I think it'd be a little foolish not to, because I do love Brendan Donovan. I absolutely love Ivan Herrera. I don't love that, Wilson Contreras first base, and there's some weird stuff from a real baseball perspective I have an issue with. But St. Louis is winning games. I'm not gonna. They are quietly one of the underdog darlings storylines of this season, and absolutely nobody's talking about them because of how good the Cubs are, how good some of these MVP candidates have been playing, whether it's Judge, Ohtani. So I get why they haven't gotten any conversation, but St. Louis is a very functional offense with the way it's constructed at the top.
All right. And for those wondering, the only reason I'm skipping this game is it gives me a half hour to get everything done how I want correctly. Yesterday, my 4 o'clock slate was a bleeping disaster, being on the show and playing multiple sites. So that's the only reason I'm skipping it. And once we broke down deGrom, I made that decision since that was really the only interest I had. And we sort of set him aside. If I was not on air, I would be building up my DraftKings lineup with that in the player pool. So, let's see here. We talked about the free way to get Portfolio EV. That is by clicking the link in the YouTube description below us. We talked about the ways that you could get free single sport sims for a month. That would be signing up through our links. That's also in the YouTube description below us here, but this is the link join promotion. Sign up for any of these, follow the instructions, and you can get a free single sport month. And then, of course, you guys can sign up through the Stokastic Hall of Fame program, the Stokastic Avatar program. Link, Nightbot is dropping those links into the chat as well, but you can see that if you go to Stokastic, underneath the social, rock the Stokastic Avatar, download the DFS, the Stokastic Avatar to the DFS site of your choice, and then use that as your avatar. Finish top 3 in any tournament with 5,000 or more entries. Can't do 50-way ties for Showdown. Top 3 actuals, and that will get you 30 days of Stokastic. You have to follow the steps here. People are I finished first and I didn't get my free month. We don't know that unless you follow the rules here. Tweeting at Stokastic HOF. You can even send that into some customer support so they see it as well. But this is how you do it. We don't magically know the 50,000 people that are playing today, their usernames and their avatars. You got to help us out. And it's the marketing that's why we're giving this to you, because you're giving us a little something. Scratch our back. We'll scratch yours. That means it's time for.
Well, the funny thing about my back, Emac. Do you know that movie?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to finish it then.
Okay. Unless it's dude. It's dude. Oh.
Super bad.
Why do I not know that reference? I probably only saw Superbad 5 times, and that was a long time ago, so I don't know all of the quotes, sadly.
Yeah, see, Recal 85 new, Superbad. It's so good. Funny thing about my back, it's located on. Anyway. Dong of the day. Can you repeat the dong calls? We haven't done the dong calls. Do you want to sing, Emac? I feel like you really want to sing this morning.
Dong of the day. Dong of the day. Yeah, Puppet Lindquist with Spags hand up his ass in the dog. Eric's mouth dong of the day. Spags. Hashtag Spags.
Yep. Good Lord Almighty.
Oh, Ron, that was for you, buddy. That was for you.
Sometimes sometimes he even surprises me with the level of ridiculousness that just shows up out of nowhere. Let's get a little bit freaky naughty today, shall we? Let's get a little bit off the board in the old home run department, shall we? Why don't we go Nolan Jones? I really kind of like highlighted in on this, like the Cleveland stack. So just to reframe, because I don't even think we went through like my final exposures for anything.
No,
Playing
we can do
150
that,
today.
bro.
Mets are number one for me still. I know that they're chalky. I still think that it's just too good of a spot. They're going to be my highest owned stack. Cleveland is number 2. Toronto's number 3. Philly is 4. Kansas City 5. Baltimore 6. I have 8% or more of every single stack that I just listed off. So I'm very consolidated towards that top tier. Then it falls by the wayside, have a little bit of Boston, have a little bit of Angels, a little bit of San Francisco. Those are all in that 4 to 6% type territory. So pretty flat among stacks. I don't have anybody north of 20%, but the Mets are my highest owned. But I want to go a little off the board for you here. And, whether it's Ozuna, which is somebody that Matt Bellman had highlighted last week and talked about the usage there. 2,200 Nolan Jones for a guy who he's in the lineup batting 9th. Obviously, he's not some massive high quality, upside target here. But I just want to point out the guy's a 50% hard hit, 13.2 degree launch angle. And his big issue is he strikes out ad nauseum, 27% K rate. It's unbelievable that he's got like a 204, 286, 307 slash line. The fact that he's only slugging 307 with those kind of metrics are just absurd. So what I expect is positive regression, and you will never, ever, ever get you anywhere in DFS without going yard. Like he's just basically just got to hit one hard baseball. But at 2,200, man, against this, Cock-and-Owich character, I mean, just give me that all day as kind of a leverage piece. So nobody's going to click on it. I will.
Leverage piece, cock, dong. You. What have you done?
It writes itself, Emac. It writes itself.
It's like a big giant pencil. I'm going to say Mark Vientos. That's who's going to hit a home run. I'm sharing the screen. This is a fun page to look at, the top batters tool. Not only is this helpful when you're just want to see who some of the better batters are on the day, you can quickly look at their popularity, but it also has their home run odds. So you can see 1 in 4 chance for some of these guys. Pretty lofty territory there. But look at these most of them are all stars. So,
oh yeah.
And if you say 1 out of every 4 times they hit the home run, you're looking at upper 30s, maybe 40 for the season. That's about right for those guys. I think we're good here, Mr. Lindquist.
We've done good.
Final thoughts. We're up to lock on DraftKings. FanDuel starts at 135. You get no weather issues, and we are the final show of the day since there is no NBA.
No, it's always great to see you in the lovely morning. Hit that like button for my friend Emac 2028. The Eric and Eric show. It's always something I always love to mix into my life. I hope you do too. Good Lord. Willie B, hilarious. Love is love, bro. Who gives a shit? And let's get the heck up out of here.
All right. With that, gamers, good luck.